Alright, what's going on, guys? We're going to be fishing a new lure today, the little Trout Magnet Cross. So I was on the Trout Magnet website a couple weeks ago and I didn't realize how many different lures they had. I knew they had the Trout Magnet, the Trout Slayer, the Crappie Magnet, the Mini Magnet, which is really just like a small trout magnet, and I think that's all the lures that I knew they had. I didn't realize how many different lures they had, so I picked up several different new lures that I never knew existed. This is the first one we're going to be trying out here today, the Trout Magnet Cross, which I guess is like a cross between a trout magnet and a worm, and it's a really cool, like little, really slim micro worm. So I'm excited to fish this. I fished some other micro worms from some different brands before, and I really like them. So we'll see what we can do on this thing here today. Alright, so here's the package that these things come in. This is the purple haze color, which is like a purple and a pink marbled together. Some of these are way more purple in color, some are way more pink in color, but basically just like a purple and pink marbling. So here's a better look at one of these lures on a jig head. The hook might be a little bit too small, but this is a 1 gram jig head, size 12 hook. So we'll fish this thing around on this lake today. Don't have a ton of time. I don't know, it's probably about an hour until sunset. And as always, this lake is covered in all this algae. But we'll fish it, we'll see what we can catch, and hopefully we can have a good little day here before sunset. There we go. Second cast. We got a hit on the Trout Magnet Cross. Is this a bass? No? Yes, it is a bass. Nice peacock bass. Alrighty, so here's our first fish of the day on the Trout Magnet Cross. A juvenile peacock bass, but a perfect size for like some smaller lures and some lighter gear like this. Fishing an ultralight rod. So that is exactly what we're going after today, at least size-wise. Would really like a bluegill or some, really not just one bluegill, but some bluegill. That's kind of the target species. But as far as size goes, that peacock bass was perfect. There we go. Third cast, we got our second bite. We hooked up with our second fish. What is this going to be? Another peacock. Another peacock of about the same size. Now I think he's a little smaller. But nice, this is a sweet catch too. Alrighty, this guy's a little feisty, but fish number 2, another peacock bass on the little Trout Magnet Cross. Yeah, this one's definitely a little smaller, but still a really pretty little fish. So exactly what we're going after size-wise. Those guys put up a nice fight. They're fun to catch, but I'm not getting overpowered. So let's keep going and see what else we can get on the Trout Magnet Cross. Ooh, got him. What is this? Another bass. I don't think that's a peacock though. And I hope I could land him through all this thick stuff here. I think he's still on. Like, look at all this stuff I'm bringing in with him. I think that's going to be a Florida bass, if I'm not mistaken. Let me just go down there and grab him. Alright, so look at this thing. It's a fatty. Not super long, but he's got a nice belly on him. And this guy was a giant pain in the butt to bring in through all this thick stuff. So this is a really nice lake because it has the exact type of fish that I always want to catch. It has a really good population of like these smaller to medium-sized Florida bass and peacock bass. as well as some really nice bluegill sunfish. But the bad side is you got to work through all this thick algae and all these thick grasses to catch those guys. But anyway, that's our third fish on the Trout Magnet Cross, and I'm pretty happy with it so far. Oh, got him. Another bass, I think. Yep, this guy was a little bit easier to bring in here. Another Florida bass. Alrighty, so probably the same length as the last one, but this guy seems to be a little bit skinnier, but still nice catch on the Trout Magnet Cross. So if you got these openings in all these weeds and algae, it's always nice to cast into them because sometimes we'll get rewarded with a fish like that. So let's keep going and see what else we can get. There we go. Another nice fish. Another bass of some type. Florida, I think. Yeah, and this is probably the biggest of the day. That's a nice fish. Alrighty, so definitely the biggest fish of the day. This is a nice one. This would be a nice fish. This would be the kind of fish I would want to catch if I was bass fishing with some bass gear. But doing some like ultralight fishing, this thing is an absolute treat. So let's get this guy back. Like I said, I like fishing this lake because there's a lot of like smaller to medium-sized bass. And I guess that's technically like on the larger end of a medium-sized bass in my opinion. But it's still nice to get rewarded with one of those every once in a while. So far the Trout Magnet Cross is producing really, really well. Got him. Another little bass. Alrighty, so this guy's on the smaller side, but still a cool little catch. When we're using small lures like this, ultralight fishing, that is a perfect size. Puts a nice bend in the rod, pulls a little bit of drag, but I'm not overpowered. I could get my hands on him. So far this Trout Magnet Cross has done way better for me than I expected. Let's maybe try to catch one more. Maybe we'll wrap it up. We'll see. Alright guys, so that's going to do it, and what an absolutely awesome day it was. First time fishing the little Trout Magnet Cross. I'm going to call this a micro worm because that's essentially what it is. We did really, really well with this thing. Unfortunately, no bluegill, but I don't think that's the fault of the lure. I just think this time of year, there's not really any bluegill close to shore. They all kind of moved offshore into some deeper water. I think if there were bluegill nearby, they definitely would have hit this thing, and I am in love with this lure. I am so glad I found this and so glad I tried this. This is probably going to be one of those like staple lures that I always have a pack of in my bag with me just in case I want to throw it. So it is super slim and super slender, very bite-sized, which is one of the main things I look for when I'm looking for a lure, because I have the opinion that if the lure is kind of smaller, more petite, more slender, more slim, any fish is going to be much more likely to bite it. And we did get a couple fairly nice size bass on this little thing. This is not going to be a traditional bass lure that anyone's going to use if they're like bass fishing, but even some larger fish are going to absolutely love biting this little thing just because it's bite size. Anything small like this, any fish is going to annihilate. It has an excellent action being kind of jigged and swam through the water. It has a nice long tail that kind of flutters. I don't know if flutters is the right word, but it sways and creates a really nice action. It's got some ribbles there, which, I don't know, might throw off some vibrations or whatnot. But yeah, this is just an excellent little lure. So it's kind of hard sometimes to find good little micro lures like this, because a lot of the micro lures on the market look more like this. This is the Z-Man micro worms, which I have fished a couple times now, and I've got a review of this lure as well. But just look how much thicker it is. It's basically the same length lure, Actually, it's exactly the same length lure, but look how much thicker. I hope this comes out well on camera. Look how much thicker the Z-Man lure is compared to the little trout magnet worm. So being just thicker like this, I think you're going to get less bites from all types of fish, just because this is less bite size than something like this. And I love fishing little micro worms. My go-to micro worm has been the Nico. Is it called? It's not called the micro worm. The pintail worm, I think is what they call it. So this has always been my go-to micro worm for, not always, but since I found this lure probably about 5 years ago. It's made of that super stretchy, super durable material, which is the only downside to the Trout Magnet Cross. It is not stretchy, and it is not durable at all. Even after those first two peacock bass, this lure got torn up pretty well. I still managed to use it for the rest of the day and caught all the fish on the same one. It's not going to come out well on camera, but this thing's torn up pretty well. I was worried there at the end that at any point now, one more bite would have just completely tore this thing off of the hook, and it would have been gone forever. So not all lures are super stretchy and super durable, which is why I do really like the Nico line of soft plastics, like the little pintail worm here. And these are about the same size, almost the same length. This one's Nico's a little bit shorter, and it's also a little bit slimmer. So this has been my go-to for a while. But if you want like either a cheaper alternative or an alternative you can find probably a little bit more commonly, because the Nico lures are sometimes hard to find and they are a little pricey, I think the little Trout Magnet Cross is an excellent alternative. And like I said, this is probably going to become one of those staple lures that I just always have a pack of with me, because you never know when's going to be a good time to fish this lure. So yeah, really like this lure. I really recommend this lure. I'm glad I found it. Hope you guys like this video, and I will see you guys next time.